Hey Collective, welcome to my channel. I am MC 5D Astrology and Tarot, and today I'm here to deliver our vulnerability messages for the month. As you guys know, I do a lot of things on this platform, but one of the things I like to do is keep it creative, keep it funky, and keep it spaced. So over time, you will see that within all of my content. Nevertheless, make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and turn on those post notification bells so you don't miss out on anything that I have to say. So today's vulnerability message is about self. Everything on my channel is about self. Why? Because nobody really teaches us about ourselves. We are taught to embrace and love and know everything else outside of us. But when it comes to ourselves, as you get older, have you ever found yourself finding yourself, figuring things out about yourself, peeling back the layers and the versions of who you are and who you aren't? That is because how we are programmed when we first come into this world. So one of the things I do want to talk about in my vulnerability message today is about self-love and what that looks like, what that feels like, and how we can embrace self-love. One of the things within self-love that I have learned is to love all parts of myself. It took me a long time to love all parts of myself, and that was because of how I was conditioned. It had to do with how I was raised, my environment, and just life in general, right? So over time, I had to go back and look on my life to see why things happen. And when I started to want to learn the truths and get the answers to my journey, to a character that I was playing that really actually wasn't me, the divine showed me so much, not only about that character I was playing, but about how the system on earth works and how they're in a position to hold a level of power over us, but they really don't have power over us. So we live in this illusion since we come out of the womb that we have to fit in a box. We have to be this, we have to be that. You have to be part of this, you have to do this, you have to be that. It's these set rules that are so strict that it never allows our authentic self to really thrive, to really shine, any of that. So over time, you start to lose what? Your self-identity. And one, you never really knew what self-identity was, and they make sure of that. So one thing with myself in my journey is I learned to start having conversations with myself. And when I started to do that, I started to identify that I had many layers to myself internally. And I know that on the outside, I may be a feminine, I may be a woman. Shout out to all the women in the building. But I have a mother and I have a father, right? So my mom is a woman and my dad is a man. That's feminine and that's masculine energy. So you take the feminine and you take the masculine, you combine it together. And that creates what? Another energy form, if we're just gonna kind of keep it simple, okay? We won't get into all the gist of it, but to keep it simple, that can create another type of energy, which creates people like myself, people like you, however you want to put it. So if that is the case, then why do we refer to ourselves as just a woman or a man, right? Why is it, oh, you're feminine or you're masculine? It's not either or, we're both. So I had to learn that over time, that I am feminine and I am masculine. I have both energies within me. I also had to learn and self-identify that I have an inner child, because everything that we're taught has to do with the child, God's children, the divine's children, whatever word you use, Allah's children. Nevertheless, we're all children. So then I started to realize, okay, not only do I have a feminine and a masculine energy within me, but I also have an inner child. Okay, cool. That's fine and dandy. The only thing outside of that the society, the world teaches us is that we have an ego. Along with the ego, over time, I feel like you start to learn about intuition. So if that's the case, I also have intuition and ego inside of me as well too. So I got feminine energy, masculine energy, this inner child. I got the ego and I got intuition. Oh, but it doesn't stop there, you guys. Then over time, I learned, as maybe some of y'all did, we have the shadow within us. We have the higher self within us, right? That's a lot of people within us. That's a lot of people. So it's like, no wonder the world is going crazy, because there's so many layers to our energy, like the rainbow, like our chakra system. But society doesn't teach us this. Society teaches us what they want us to know. And that creates an illusion. It creates a false sense of a narrative, okay? And so for me, for the longest, I had a false narrative that I was living by, working by, doing, and didn't even really know it. I was doing it by design, because it was just something programmed in me. But there's something within all of us that we come in that society, however you want to put it, the matrix, it can't take away from you, okay? And that is God within us, right? Some people refer to it as the divine, like I do. Again, some people refer to Allah, whatever you call it. There's a higher energy source, an umbilical cord that is attached to us that goes beyond this earth world, that goes beyond the 3D, that goes beyond what we see on a normal basis. And that is tied into our intuition. That intuition has access to a higher level of knowledge that you just cannot get on earth. It comes already within you. So it's like you have keys to doors within you that you didn't even know you had access to. And you start to learn this over time. And that's something I had to learn. So with me, once I realized that there were so many layers and versions of myself, then I started to identify what were me and what was not me. Meaning, like I spoke of before, we have a mother, we have a father, right? Feminine and masculine energy. Usually when people have children, what happens is if you're not in the healthiest version of yourself, and if you don't know you're not in the healthiest version of yourself, you're just going to keep recreating children in the world that are duplicates of yourself and the person that you laid down with to create that child. 9 times out of 10, that's a lot of energy that is unbalanced, unhealed, toxic, traumatized, a lot of probably just low vibrational energy. Mental health is at its finest, meaning that all of us have some type of gaslighting tendency, narcissistic tendencies. Everything is within us that is just so unhealthy. But a lot of the times, you don't even know that this is what's developing within you. It's like they're intentionally developing people to fit a narrative that is toxic, that's going to bring people out of unity with not only themselves, but with people around them, right? So they can feel like they have some type of control, or that we need somebody above us, an authority to run us because we don't know how to run ourselves. And that's absolutely not true, okay? So over time on my journey, I learned to tap into my inner knowing. It was always from a younger child. I always had this inner knowing of something was not right. Something, this world we live in, like something's off. Even when I used to just pay attention to everything around me, it's like I came in this world already knowing, but didn't know that something was wrong. Like this can't be it. You know how a child comes out the womb and they're looking around like, what portal did I come into? Because I want to go back, you know? It was that type of energy, but I never knew really how to identify. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know, what I was doing in the moment. I just always knew that there has to be more to life. This ain't right. This can't be it, okay? So that's a little side note. But one of the things I do want to help everyone tap into in this video is that we have energy within us that society doesn't want us to know about. And in order for us to be the best, healthiest versions of ourselves, we have to start to identify these things. We have to start researching and learning these things. And the only way to do that is if you allow your ego to be a student in intuition's classroom. For the longest, and maybe some of you guys can relate, our egos are running the show, okay? The gatekeeper, right? The representative that talks for us, speaks for us. When somebody speaks to us or talks to us, it goes into the Matrix Society library and is pulling out literature and scriptures and all type of stuff saying, here, say this, here, do this, here, this is what that means. But we never actually tap into us. We never really tap into us in order to respond, in order to receive, in order to give, in order to just be on this earth in unity with people. So that's why we have a lot of dysfunction, because we allow our representative, our ego, to speak for us on behalf of our intuition. So for example, have you ever been in a situation where you had this inner knowing or this inner feeling or something vibrationally within you was trying to get your attention and it was trying to speak to you, but it wasn't in a way that you could hear it in the 3D sense? It was something internally that was energy that was given to you, and you just knew that there was somebody else in the vicinity of you within yourself trying to help you maneuver a situation. However, because we don't have people on earth to kind of educate us when it comes to intuition, when it comes to mystic energy. The first thing that we're going to do is allow our gatekeeper, our ego, to shut intuition down, and it starts to try to figure things out and speak on our behalf. So then the authentic part of ourselves gets shut down. That version that was trying to speak up and live and breathe, it doesn't get to. And then guess what? It goes back in this little jail cell. The door is closed, the key is locked, and then the leech that is on us, which I call the ego, society's programming of a character that is not really us, starts to speak for us, starts to be us. It wants to be us. That's the most craziest thing when you really think about it. But it happens. And then a lot of the times you find yourself in situations and we end up learning the hard way, right? Have you ever had a lesson where it repeated itself, or it was a hard lesson that was just like, you ask yourself, did I really have to learn it that way? Did it really have to go down that way? Or did I really have to continue to attract the same type of people, places, and things, but just different face, different place, different time? Like, what am I missing? How am I missing it? You know? And it's because we are not in tune with our inner family tree. And our inner family tree consists of some of the things I was speaking of earlier: our feminine energy, our masculine energy, our inner child, our shadow, our higher self, right? Our ego, our intuition. All of those things make up who we are. And if we don't know how to first acknowledge and be okay with saying, hey, I have multiple people living inside of my body right now, and all of it needs attention. All of me needs attention, right? You have to first acknowledge that you have many layers to yourself, because on the outside looking in, society teaches us that, for example, if you talk to yourself out loud, or if you have certain behavior traits, that you are crazy, you're crazy, right? Or something's wrong with you. But it's not true. You have many, many, many energies that lie within you. So you absolutely need to learn how to acknowledge that. And then that allows you to have conversations with those energies within you, which then allows you to be on the same page with yourself, because your inner family tree is on the same page with yourself. And that's one of the main reasons why we have so many issues just in relationships in general. It doesn't matter if it's romantic or platonic, because everything is romantic and platonic. It goes hand in hand. Those are what I call butt buddies, right? Everything is that. The thing is us understanding that because we aren't taught that we're feminine and masculine, which means I'm a man and I'm a woman, right? Shout out to the womans, you know what I mean? I also have this inner child from the age of when I was first born, 0, all the way up to whatever age you are now. That's a lot of versions of your inner child. So you have to think about all of that as well too, right? The evolution of yourself. I have an intuition that's trying to allow my ego to be the gatekeeper and to be the representative, but sometimes the gatekeeper and the representative starts to take on and believe and gets comfortable and thinks that they are what? The CEO. They're the ones who created this, that they're the founder. They're not the founder, okay? The intuition hired the ego because the intuition has a lot of other things going on and to do. So it's trusting that each part of itself is running in accordance to divine's order. But when we come into society knows these things, that those things are in place to help us. It's like the solar system, the lunar system. They intentionally disrupt that household within us, so we don't even know who we are. We don't like ourselves. But then we're taught so many different components of life, and then we go out and then we fail at life. And then we're wondering, how did this happen? And that's why a lot of people stay in toxic relationships, toxic foundations. That's why people don't even really understand what's going on with them. So what do, right? In order to suppress all this energy within us that we're told, if you talk to yourself, you're crazy. Your feminine or your masculine handles things differently. So your feminine could be the one who likes to drink to suppress. Your masculine could be the one that likes to smoke it out. Or it could be your feminine is the one that likes to smoke it out to suppress. And your masculine is the one that likes to drink. Or they may like to do both. Okay, it just depends on what you got going on, right? Your intuition and your shadow feels like it can't speak, it can't do anything, because it's always going to be beaten down on by the higher self and the ego, because what they think they know it all, right? They think they know it all. So you have all of this inner battle and conflict within yourself. And it can drive you crazy. It can really drive you crazy. So this video I wanted to create really quickly and just come on and do a little vulnerability message regarding learning to love yourself, learning the different parts of yourself. I want you guys to take time out to research feminine energy, masculine energy, the shadow, right? Your higher self, your intuition, your ego. I want you guys to take time out to research and learn the dark night of the soul, the light night of the soul, because it's two, it's not just one. A lot of people, if you're not familiar with, but a lot of people talk about the dark night of the soul, right? As if we only have the sun. Don't we have the moon, right? So we have to make it make sense. But that will allow you to start having deeper conversations with yourself. And that's one of the things I have done over the last few years, is starting to have deeper conversations with myself, identifying parts of myself that, one, was not me, two, that never got to really live or breathe, that kept trying to be suppressed every time it tried to come out. And then three, just realizing that it was time to make a choice and trying to make a decision within my life of what direction I wanted to go into. Did I want to continue to play a character that I didn't come in here to play? And then continue to be around people that are playing a character as well too, and they're not being their authentic self because we weren't taught how, or do I want to give up that fake reality, that fake world that really does not serve me, and step more into my true authentic self, which comes with work, because when you get there, then you have to put in work. That's when the work comes. So that's when the ascensioning and the awakening process happens, because you realize there's more out there to life. You're not happy. This is not working the way things are going. And you start to tap into a deeper sense of self. And that starts to awaken something within you. And it talks to the universe. It talks to the divine. It talks to your ascended educators and teachers. It talks to your ancestors that mean you well. It talks to the universe. It talks to the solar system, the lunar system. It talks to your Akashic records. It talks to your subconscious, your conscious, your unconscious. And it allows you guys to all have a seat at the table, all be authors of your own story, and really get to the bottom root of what's going on. And when you start to do that journey, what happens is, because of all of the dysfunction and chaos and drama that was brought into your inner household, you're absolutely gonna have problems when you have that roundtable conversation with self, right? It's like going to therapy with yourself. You got a lot of versions of yourself at therapy, upset, pissed off, wanting answers, pointing the finger. But in actuality, you come to learn that you guys were all victims that end up being victorious in the situation, and that actually there's something outside of you working against you, so that way you would have these issues to begin with. So now we have little minions running around all chaotic inside, and then guess what? You go and attract chaotic stuff. Those chaotic parts start to point out other people's chaotic parts, and it wants to feed, it wants to drink, it wants to eat off of it. And then you just are in all of these crazy situations that you don't have to be in. And a lot of the times we're not conscious, but then eventually you start to become conscious, and it's a choice. But then you also have people who actually know what they're doing, and those are the scary ones, but they continue in that behavior pattern because, one, we live in the world where they're covered. So it's undercover, right? And so if you were to, for example, expose like a narcissist, narcissists are so far gone, you guys, that trying to expose a narcissist or trying to reason with a narcissist or have a conversation with a narcissist, it's not going to really go nowhere. Okay, it's not going to go anywhere. It can only go so far. Okay, so that's where you have to learn to have boundaries. And it goes back to what I'm saying now. We have to learn to have boundaries within ourselves, and we have to be okay with setting those boundaries within ourselves and saying, hey, I'm not okay, or hey, something's not right, or hey, I don't like the way those people treat me, or hey, wait a minute, I'm allowing him or her to do this to me in this relationship, and it's not okay. And then you start to self-reflect. And that's one of the things I've done over the years, is start to self-reflect. And when I say so much was revealed to me, and it made me so angry at first, it made me so upset because I took it personal. And then the divine had to remind me that I came here to wake up, to remember, right? We're remembering all of these things. See, the thing is, we actually know all this stuff about Earth, about the matrix, about society, about where we live, this 3D world, but we're intentionally coming into a world where they are brainwashing us. We all come in with amnesia, dementia. So it's easier for them to teach us and control the narrative of our story because it's suppressed, right? A lot of us, we don't got our spiritual mothers out here. Shout out to all the spiritual mothers, you know what I mean? And that whole tribe that was mystic, that had capabilities to do really great things on Earth to keep it thriving. They were in tune with Mother Nature, okay? They are the authors of this land, but that's a conversation for another video. But I just want to keep it short and simple. But yes, this is all about vulnerability, all right? And I'm coming on being vulnerable, giving you guys a little something of myself. So that way maybe it can help you guys identify the parts of you that are maybe broken, or the parts of you that are needing to heal, or maybe it's triggering something in you, you know? You're having an aha moment right now that's allowing you to kind of connect the dots. That's usually how it starts. Things start to happen. You start to have synchronicities and symbolisms start to really show up in your life, and the divine is leading you to make a choice, to saying, hey, do you want to continue playing this character? Do you want to continue in this role? Or do you want to really figure what's on the other side, the unseen, right? And I feel like all of us want more out of life. All of us want to be at peace. All of us want to be happy, you know? But there's levels to getting there because of the world we live in. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So I wanted to give some little gems, some little tools, for you guys in order to start self-identifying things within yourself that aren't okay, things within your relationships around you that are not okay, and stop just letting things be. Stop just allowing things to happen to you. Again, I understand there are some energies that are not really fully awoke just yet, and they're going through things, and then those things are going to happen to allow them to wake up. I'm also talking right now basically to people that are starting to wake up or have woken up. Now it's time to put in the work. Now the divine wants to see, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with all of this that I've given you? I've showed you, and I've taught you, you know, outside looking in, what you're up against, what's really going on around you. What are you going to do to help contribute to bringing change, right? So I hope you guys enjoy this message. If it resonated with your energy within your soul, make sure that you share, like, subscribe, and look for more further content on the channel. But again, this is your vulnerability message, and I am MC 5D Astrology and Tarot, and I will catch you guys next time. Namaste.